I'm Jessamyn.
And I'm Meg.
We're your hosts for Surviving UX, where designers come to cry design tears.
Collectively, we've been doing UX for over 10 years, and we have got the scars to prove it.
Today, we're going to answer some questions from designers in trouble. But first, a quick disclaimer. This program does not represent the experience of a specific company or employee. It does not disclose any confidential information about any company or employee. It is for entertainment purposes only.
All right, we're going to go ahead and jump into answering real questions from real UX designers. So, Jessamyn, tell me, what is the most shocking discovery as a UX designer you've had working at a large company?
So the most shocking discovery I've made as a UX designer working at a large company is how much stuff goes out the door without any user testing whatsoever. And it's just a wing and a prayer. I hope it lands. Hope somebody clicks on this. I hope it makes sense. I mean, I just feel like I had my eyes pried open when I finally got access to like online testing platforms, and I'd put designs up and watch people click through them and record, and how people just struggled. And I'm like, really? Like, you can't get through this thing where you're turning up the volume? Like, but that was so eye-opening to me. And like, that was such a rare opportunity to even have that. And most projects don't get like outside eyes. So for me, that was like a shock that things are, they just sail out the door. We don't have time.
Right. And it's such a debate too between like people who believe that throwing this stuff over the fence, putting it in front of users, and then getting the feedback, and then we'll like iterate and build on top of that. But oftentimes we never return to anything. And so people making that argument are kind of like, well, we have to have the follow through for that to be a legitimate argument, which is often not there.
I feel like the whole thing about like we'll catch that up as a fast follow, or we'll get that in the V2, is such a lie. And like I feel like anytime anybody says that, like they should just take a drink, because nobody ever does it. Nobody ever follows up, or like, unless somebody is like really burning the house down about they don't like something, like it's so rare to go back and fix anything. That to me is like the biggest shock. Is I think also just how much negative feedback people are sort of willing to put up with in a product, where like you'll get complaints about the same thing a day in and day out. Support will get the same complaints over and over. And we just kind of merrily go along. We're like, oh yeah, that thing doesn't work so well. Cool. Yeah, people don't like that thing. And you're like, well, all right, how about we do something about it? Maybe, maybe not. But I think that for me is sort of the biggest shock. It's like you're making the sausage and you're like, wow, this is a mess. But that's, every company is that way. Every company, it's a big mess on the inside, and you just don't see it. You just don't see it on the outside.
Right.
So.
And one thing you're reminding me of is just how long some of the things I've put out in the world and in the products that I work on have lasted and are horribly embarrassing.
Oh my gosh. No, because if they, don't you think though, like that's a sign that they were done reasonably well, that they've lived that long? I mean, if it was really bad, don't you think they'd yank it? No?
No, I think it's more evidence that no one important enough was using it. Yeah, no customers that had enough money or big enough voices or paths to high enough people at the company. That I mean, of course, I'd love to think my designs are absolutely fantastic, but the ones I'm pretty sure are embarrassments. I would say that that's probably the key. The key to their longevity is that nobody important has noticed how bad they are.
They're probably making somebody some money, so they're not going to touch it. If that button is clicking and making a penny for somebody, it's going to stay up there forever. No one's going to take it down. I mean, my dad, he still uses CompuServe email, and he pays for it. And like he still pays. And it's like, okay, somebody has that website going and that server is providing his email and he's happily paying $8 a month or whatever it is for that. And, hey, keep it going. So, all right, well, let's move to our next question. What are your survival tips for designers who struggle putting up with dirty politics in the office? Survival tips. What about you? What do you think?
Yeah, so I'm trying to think of some examples of some dirty politics. Do you have any kind of concrete examples there?
I mean, I feel like I'm not really exposed to dirty politics because I've been too low level to really see it, but you just sort of feel it going on around you. I think it's one of those things that I don't really get to see, but I definitely feel the vibes. So I would say surviving that kind of stuff. I mean, keep your head down. Just try to stay away from it. I think gossip, I think that can be really tough is like if somebody tries to pull you into gossiping about somebody that you don't have beef with, that can be really tough. Like, I think it's one thing to listen to somebody rant. Like, I get that. Like, it's safe if if somebody wants to come to me, they want to rant about somebody, that's totally fair. But then if I don't personally have beef with that person, I won't pick up their rant and like hold it in my heart and be like, oh, that person is bad because I haven't necessarily been hurt. But that would be my survival tip is like, be a shoulder to cry on, listen and support, but don't try to stay out of it as much as possible. Try not to take sides if you haven't been pulled onto a side already. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's good advice. I think when we think about like things that are going on at work where you're watching people's behavior that you may find to be like uncomfortable or just like not productive or just the dirty politics like thing. I think oftentimes it's not from a place of like overt malice. I think it's more from a place of getting to kind of uncover what those motivations are, because a lot of people are just being motivated and doing things for the best outcome for themselves. And this kind of comes, I think, up in a lot in pay for performance situations. I think that the times where I've seen people really act in ways that don't seem to be in the best interest of the team or be in the best interest of the user is where those types of things do not align with somebody's pay or somebody's reward for the work that they're doing and how they're being rewarded. And I guess so my tip would be kind of like, take a step back and look and try to see if there are other mechanisms at play that you can identify to be like, why is this colleague making the choices that they are? I don't think it excuses them or anything, but it might make it feel a little bit I don't know, less
like you empathize, like you're saying, empathize with them, empathize with their crazy stuff. Like someone's acting bad or someone has, I don't know, done whatever, like you're trying to like, I don't know, empathize with where they're coming from. Like I remember one time talking to somebody, they had an experience where they had a coworker. It was actually a supervisor who would present and then take credit for their work. So they would, give this person a project, that person would do the work, then they'd take their deck, and then in a meeting where that person wasn't invited, they would share the work. And that like person was powerless to like do anything about it. I mean, to me, but they knew it was going on and they knew they weren't getting the credit. And so, I mean, I think they moved on. I think that's the thing in general is like if it's toxic, you can't do much about it, right? You can't, I mean, maybe some people you can't really fix it.
No.
I think it's like better to just stay out of it. Stay away from it.
That is the root of it, is the fact that you will feel out of control because you have no control over what's going on. And that's a great example of somebody, not giving credit. And I think about those times when that has happened to me, and I go, what happened here? Did they forget? Did they legitimately forget that I presented this a month ago or something along those lines? And then in your example, it sounds a lot more overt. And I guess it's not so much that I want to have empathy with the bad actor. It's more that I want to have a little bit more awareness of what might be causing these things, so I don't feel so out of control. But I think that the root of it is, or the end result should really be the same, which is that you don't have control. You have to figure out a way to just kind of let it go, find a better environment. Maybe it is switching jobs or switching teams, or if there's really nothing you can do about it, you got to wait it out until the bad actor moves on. And that's something I was going to say for the first question in the shocking discovery. There's just a totally different topic or a totally different tangent for that question, but people leave. That is both good and bad. But if there's one thing you can count on, it is really likely that at some point those people will leave. The bad actors
will move on.
Will move on.
They will. They'll move on because poop floats.
That is so true.
People get plucked out and they move over somewhere else. I mean, it's interesting how much opportunity is out there, and people who sometimes you're like, that person, but they get picked and they float up. Yeah. All right, let's do another one. Up. All right, let's see. What's another good one here? Let's jump to, I've long wondered what people do after UX. There are lots of articles about getting into UX. I think this is an awesome question. I would love to know the same. What do people do after UX?
I would also love to know how to grow old in UX. I don't know the
I think about this all the time. Because I'm in my early 40s, and I'm like, I'll look at my little retirement account and it's like, you'll retire at 67. And I'm like, 67? Am I going to be doing this at 67? Am I going to be doing this at 60? Is anybody going to want me around telling them what to do? Imagine working with your summer intern and being like, hey, Sonny, this is what we're going to be building. And they're going to be like, get out of here. I just don't see it. I don't see myself doing this. And that is definitely something that kind of weighs on me a little bit. How am I going to age out of this profession? Honestly, I just don't feel like there's a ton of opportunities at the top. Sometimes when I look at the people at the top, I'm like, what are they doing up there? These design leaders, quote unquote, who are up at the top, I guess, making some big decisions, but I don't feel their decision making. I don't feel that impact. So I just wonder what's happening up there. But then I think,
I was going to say, to add to that, that's not everybody's track too. It can't be, because there are so few of those jobs. And so, at some point, I think it's not a loss of ambition or anything, but it's a realization that you're not on a make it or break it track where you're trying to get to the top, or you're trying to get to a position that's the next position above. You're just wanting to live your life, and you're wanting to do good work at work, but you're not really climbing that ladder super, super fast or competing with the other people on that ladder. And so that's not, and I think I would say maybe you and I are in the same boat on that, or at least I am, is that that's not really the goal anymore. And so more of it is just how do you age gracefully in this profession, knowing that you're not going to be at the top, knowing that you're not going to be the VP of design or something like that. And our profession is so heavy at the bottom, I think partially because it's on the newer side, the folks doing this kind of work in the 90s weren't called UX designers. And so we have a generally new profession. We have a huge amount of people always coming into the profession. So there's never going to be somebody there, or what's the saying? There is never going to be more people older than you in this profession. There are always only going to be more people younger than you. And it's just exploding. And so, and a lot of, there's incredible talent, incredible insights. I love working with young students trying to get into UX. I think they have, fantastic perspectives and ideas and backgrounds that I think really add to the profession. But it does make you wonder kind of like how to age gracefully. And will you be doing this at 60? Can you be doing this at 60?
I totally have come to the realization that it's time to start cutting my resume. I'm like, oh, I don't want to tell people that I was a designer back in 2007. I'm like, I don't want to go back that far anymore. And I've seen people where they don't put their year of graduation from their college degrees and stuff like that. And I'm like, why do they do that? Just put it. And now I'm like, oh, I should probably take mine off. I don't know. But it's like a real thing of if I'm up for a job, most jobs they'll want I don't know, 5 years, 6 years. I never really see UX design roles where they're like, oh, this person really needs to have 10 or 15 years of design experience. That just it's not out there. And so it's not going to be an advantage for you if you're competing for that job to be like, oh, that person has 3, but I have 12. I'll be, I'll be better. They don't care.
Right.
They don't want to pay for that. They want to have somebody that's cheaper and that they can boss around. So why would they get somebody with 15 years of experience and then that person's going to be like, sorry, you don't know what you're doing. Let me tell you what's up. They don't want that. So I guess I'm just thinking whatever you do after UX, I don't know. I think this one, someone needs to phone in and tell us because I have no idea. I mean, honestly, I don't know that many people who have risen up to the upper ranks of their company's design leadership. I mean, I think the only other thing I could say is that some people go into consulting and they just work for themselves and they get hired. That terrifies me so much. I cannot even imagine. I remember freelancing. I mean, I don't know what the difference is, honestly, between consulting and freelancing, but freelancing was such a nightmare and you spend so much time trying to find work that I can't even imagine the uncertainty that would come with that of trying to get gigs and be like, hey, do you need a website? Do you need a website? Who needs a website? And then you just don't know who you're going to end up with. You're going to end up with somebody who has no idea what is involved. And I remember back when I was freelancing, just doing kind of web design, graphic design type stuff. I mean, I'd end up with people, it would be one dude who had a little t-shirt company or something. And he'd have these grand visions of oh, we're going to do a website. We're going to do all these photos of all these, models or whatever. And I mean, I'm just okay, well, what should we put on? They don't have any idea of the giant amount of work, and they have no idea what they even want on their website. So I don't know, that just terrifies me to the idea of consulting, but maybe we can find some consultants to talk to who can talk us off the ledge. Maybe that's an opportunity. Would be so
Jessamyn,
bad.
I think that the answer here, the real true answer, is that you got to play it right. You got to work for a startup that goes public and makes $1 billion so that you can retire and basically do nothing after
right.
your UX
I think
career.
the answer is nothing. The answer is to retire and do nothing or to do anything else. But I don't think UX is the thing you want to do. I think the answer is, go work at a coffee shop. I think that's the answer. All right, cool. Well, let's do one more question. Your choice.
Great.
You pick one.
All right. I do like this one. So what's your motivation for doing good work when good work isn't rewarded or needed, or hard work isn't considered advantageous?
That's so, I don't feel like that's just that hard work, good work. First of all, I don't think, is good work ever rewarded? Is anyone getting rewarded for good work? I don't think that happens. I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
think it's like, if you don't have intrinsic motivation,
Mm.
like you, like this job is going to hurt because there's hardly any opportunities to be rewarded. I mean, when's the last time you saw a designer get awarded for something? I mean, no, there's no awards. Maybe like if you're at like a firm and they put something out for an award, but if you're in-house,
Mm-hmm.
there's no rewards. So I don't know. So good work isn't rewarded. I mean, maybe like you're not getting praised. You're not getting feedback. I mean, I honestly think that like the default of like no news is good news. You're not hearing either way. If people are like, oh, that's like, that means you're doing fine. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think. If people aren't complaining about you, that means you're doing fine.
Yeah.
But I don't know. If you're not getting rewarded, I don't know.
A couple of things come to mind for me.
Mhm.
One is know what rewards are for you. Spend some
Mhm.
time in your life and career, and this maybe is more of advice for earlier on folks, is, and this is true in and outside of UX, is like rewards don't mean the same thing for everybody. Like, I really like it when
Mhm.
people tell me externally
Mhm.
how, like, give me external affirmation. That means way more to me than getting additional money
Really?
or, yeah. Oh yeah,
Wow.
I thrive off that
Okay.
stuff.
You love praise? Okay.
Oh yeah, yeah. So
Ah.
I think like thinking through those things and then just being really honest with the people that you work for, if they're, hopefully they're receptive to saying like, hey, this is how I'm motivated. You need to err on the side of this stuff if you want
Mhm.
to, if you want to reward my work.
Mm.
So that's one. The other thing I would add uh, to this is give rewards. So like
Mm.
I'm definitely a big like like I'm also into this like research karma wise. Like I participate in studies a lot because
Mhm.
I don't want recruiting to be a beast, and so I feel
Mhm.
like there's some sort of like karmic balance in the world of research studies where if I participate in research studies I will get research participants for
Mm.
my studies.
I love signing up for research studies. I mean, I always feel like, oh, I can sneak and see how these researchers are putting together this survey or what
Hmm.
kind of things they'll ask. Like, or if I get interviewed, I've signed up for some wacky stuff, like some healthcare type stuff where you're like taking things with you into the bathroom type stuff, like weird stuff. But I guess like because I have such strong opinions on things that I'll like form an opinion really quickly on something and I'll talk the person's ear off. I think the worst is when you're trying to do research and the person is kind of lukewarm and they're like, yeah, I guess it's all right, whatever. And you're like, "Ah, but is it good? Is it bad? Is it rocking your world? Do you hate it? Tell me." And if they're like that, just I'm like, whoa, please, like, oh, I can't. Why are you volunteering for this? But
We
I
could
guess like
definitely, oh, go ahead.
yeah.
I was going to say
I
we
mean,
could definitely do a whole session on just doing research as designers. I think
ah,
that's another
that's a
a whole
topic.
topic. Yeah.
Absolutely. I
Um,
guess like for this question of um motivation, like you're not getting motivated or not getting rewarded. I mean, I read one time that was like, you don't expect in your career for people to come along and put a tiara on your head for like good work. Cause it's like
mm,
work is not like school. We're like in school, if you get good grades, you get a good report card, you get on the honor roll. Like it's very, very visible and concrete. These like, you did your work, you did it well, you did it on time, and now you're on this honor list. Like that just doesn't exist. I feel like when you're working, you don't get those moments. It's just things just continue on, and like you have to reward yourself. But
yes, that
yeah.
is a great point. And I would add to that, which is my last tip on this one, is go to a place where you are rewarded or you do feel like your hard work is being recognized. And that might not be your job or your profession. That might be something else you do on the side to fill that kind of need that you have. And then, you know, like you said, like the job just might not be the kind that has kind of those overt rewards. And so, but you got to get it somewhere. And that's kind of been a trick for me, is trying to find that in other places.
Well, I guess like, I get it. I think but it is sort of like this idea of like, I'm going to change jobs and it's going to be so much better at this new place. And I just feel like after having changed jobs a couple of times, I'm like, you know, every place has got its ups and downs, and like, it really depends on the team you're with. It depends on the people you're with. I mean, I definitely say like, don't stay in a bad situation. That's true. Absolutely true. I also think that like, even if it's really good, it's never going to be perfect. So like, again, like if it's good enough, take it. And then figure out what the cherry is on top for you, like elsewhere. Somehow.
Absolutely. I think at a job you can, you know, for example, I do things in our ERGs, I do things in other like interest groups that have nothing to do with UX, that bring a lot of value and satisfaction, and are places where I have communities of people where it's a little bit more, that gives me a little bit more of that stuff that I need. And then I choose outside of work to also, to also take on, roles and opportunities where I try to get that as well. So I definitely agree with you that like, so, you know, the old saying is the grass is always greener, but the reality is everywhere is just a trash fire. And so, yeah, you're right. Hopping around really won't buy you much, at least in terms of trying to, you might make moderate or small, small improvements, and those things are worth it too. But and we could do a whole thing on moving into new jobs as well. But yeah, I would agree that moving into a new job is, you need to keep in mind that everything around you, from your manager, your team, your project, could immediately change the minute you get there, or 3 months, 6 months, a year. So you can't really, even if you think it's the best situation, you got to go in with a realistic perspective.
Oh yeah. Because the person you love working with the most may be moving on as you move in. I mean,
absolutely.
I was chatting with somebody the other day. They're like, oh, so-and-so hired somebody and then they're leaving. So that new person coming in isn't even going to get to have them for a manager. So
happens all the time.
Oh, ouch. Yeah. Cool. All right, Meg. Well, I feel like that was pretty good. We've got more questions for next time. So if you have a question, please send it to us on LinkedIn Messenger or Facebook Messenger or email, Gmail, Slack, text it to us, what have you. We want to answer your questions, throw you a lifeline. Thanks very much.
If our intro music sounds familiar, it's the on-hold music for Cisco Phones, Opus Number 1 by Tim Carlton and Derek Beal. It's what observers hear as they wait in great anticipation for the researcher and participant to connect and rejoin the conference call for what hopes to be another great UX study. Thanks for listening, and hang in there until next time.